everybody. We are starting our first episode of the Gig Sessions Lunchtime Talk, and I am your host, Tina Terry. Today we have with us Eden Brent, piano extraordinaire, and Jason Ricci, whom we all refer to as the harmonica savant. So if you guys have any questions for the folks in the comments section, just put a Q in front of your question, and that way I will be able to easily see it and we can help get you an answer. So let's introduce our guest. Welcome, Miss Eden Brent and Jason Ricci. Welcome, guys.
Thanks. Hey, pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yeah. So everybody is looking pretty today, and Jason's got his hair done.
You look good.
So yeah, tell me, let's start with you, Miss Eden. What have you been doing with all this time off that no one expected?
Well, let's see. I've been cooking. Jason, you'll be happy to know that I made some damn good Louisiana gumbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, man. And I must say, making gumbo is an intimidating process. Because,
oh, yeah.
You know, the first thing everybody tells you is you got to watch out to don't burn the roux.
Right.
You can't burn
or you got to
roux.
start all over. Yeah.
So what did I do? I burned the first roux. But look, that was no problem because there wasn't really anything in the pot yet except roux.
Right.
Scorched roux. So I just dumped that out and started over with some butter, I think.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
What'd you start with the first time? Animal fat? Did you start with bacon fat? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was sausage drippings. Actually, the recipe that I was using was from Southern Living and was a great recipe, except I burned the first roux. So I've tried to follow their recipe, but I had to start the roux with butter. And it turned out great. I was using, Gulf Coast shrimp. This was some sausage from Mississippi, and Country Pickin' is the brand, and I used some Louisiana crab meat, and it was good.
Nice.
I was mighty proud of myself. You would have been too.
Aw.
Uh-oh, somebody says, where's everybody at?
Oh,
We're here.
We got you, Jamie. We got you, buddy. Ask away. Yeah, you want to when you're doing that roux, you want it dark. So you got to get it to the edge of the burn, right? That's the thing, Depending upon like what you're cooking, like if you like cooking like crawfish or something that's like a really delicate flavor, you might not want to cook the roux too harsh. Otherwise it might overpower the seafood, right?
Yeah, that's what my brother-in-law said. He said, don't worry about it if it doesn't turn real dark, because since you're making a seafood gumbo.
Yeah, that's right.
And it doesn't have to be as dark a roux. And he was right. And actually, as it cooked, it did turn darker and darker, even though my roux, the second time I wasn't going to ruin it, so I was afraid to make it too dark to start with. But it did get darker as it cooked, and it really was delicious. I was mighty proud. I hadn't done it again, but I was proud that first time and possibly last. It took a long time.
Yeah, that's the problem with Louisiana cooking. It's all day affair. Yeah. I learned from Big Al Loro, the drummer for Big Al and the Heavy, because I'm from Maine. I'm from Maine originally. Where last time I saw you, actually, that's where I'm from, up around there. But I don't know how, blah blah blah, years ago, right? I got a job with Al. And we were living in Nashville, but we used to drive down here to play, and they would stop at these little shacks where you could buy like rabbit and tasso and boudin and all this stuff I had never heard of. And I like all the guys were from Louisiana, and they're all loading up on it, right? Like with coolers of this stuff to bring back to Nashville. I felt left out, so I started buying it too. Then I came home with all this meat that I was not only scared to eat, but scared to cook.
Yeah, you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, right. So I got on the phone with Al, and I'm like, okay, what do I do, right? And he and it's been 20 years of that now, of like learning to cook Cajun food,
Oh, that's fantastic, man. Yeah.
It's a passion.
We're all used to eating it, but I grew up in a family with my mother was a good cook. My granny could cook. My grandma could cook. My older sister could cook. So, dang, I was playing the piano. I never really learned to cook. Now I've had plenty of time since I'm not traveling or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been nice. I gotta say there's something real soothing about cooking. The process of watching something brew.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of fun to it's a solitary thing, and it kind of takes your mind off everything else. I have enjoyed the process. I've cooked spaghetti for the first time. I know that sounds simple to a lot of people, but I mean, you got to realize before like a couple of years ago or something, I had never cooked more than like gravy one time, and I cooked chicken one time. So now when my dad got cancer, I learned how to make pancakes. So I'm a pancake expert and a recent cornbread expert. The trick to good cornbread, I've learned very recently, is don't put so much dang flour in it.
Right.
Everybody puts too much flour in the cornbread. You don't need any sugar, and you don't need hardly any flour. Overload it with cornmeal and just a little bit of flour, and it tastes a lot better.
And see, I cheat for 55 cents. I said I cheat for 55 cents. I make Jiffy.
Oh, Jiffy is good stuff. You can't go wrong with Jiffy. Yeah. But, all of the meal that you buy, if it's a mix, it has a lot of flour in it. And if you make it by scratch, it really is quite delicious. And it has a lot more cornmeal in it. It's good.
David Kimbrough Jr.'s oldest son, who passed away last year, another Mississippi boy, North Mississippi. Right. When I lived with him, they used to make the best cornbread, and the bottom of the cornbread was hardened with nothing but fat, right? Like it was like a crisp, like fatty, I don't know, man, like
the trick
grease.
To that, Jason,
Tell me.
To that is you get your iron skillet. You use an iron skillet, and you get it blazing hot at about 450 in the oven with fat in the bottom. And you can use vegetable fat. It doesn't matter. But bacon fat works real good.
Yeah, and
that's what's up. Sizzling hot, so when you pour the batter in, it sizzles, and that makes that nice crust on the bottom.
I never knew how to do it, so I might have to call you. I might have to call you again if I try it. Yeah.
Anytime, man. I'm just right up the road. Oh, yeah. Somebody asked where we were. I'm in my home in Greenville, Mississippi.
I'm in. Go ahead.
Yep. And I'm due west, South Carolina.
New Orleans.
And it's interesting that you're talking about making roux. I consider myself to be a pretty good cook, and roux is nothing I've been able to do. I've had thousands of New Orleans friends spend hours with me teaching me and send me home, and I can't do it.
Let me ask you this, Tina. Can you make biscuits and gravy?
No.
Okay,
See, if you can things I can't do.
If you want to practice making a roux, and Eden will confirm this, just learn to make biscuits and gravy, right? Or just the white sausage gravy will teach you how to make a roux.
And that I assumed they connected in some way, because I could do anything but those two.
It's just about this constant stirring and getting it, right constantly, and just the level of fat, right? And when you're making, white gravy for like sausage gravy, right? Which I learned to make in jail, even though we didn't make it there. People told me about it, yeah. And then I got out and tried it. It worked like a charm, But yeah, I'm really actually grateful for jail, right? Because when I got out of jail in 2011 or 2012, they told me I was on probation, and they told me, look, you can't be in bars and you can't leave the state. So I had a warm up for 2020 in 2015. So I got online, started teaching lessons, started working on products to sell and stuff like that. And so I'm okay right now, luckily.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That is cool. So, Jason Ricci, what have you been doing with all this downtime you weren't expecting?
Okay. So like I've been teaching a lot, like 3, 4, 5 a day, right? And I've been doing some of these webinars that have been good, mostly like instructional harmonica stuff. It's funny. I'm really, really one of the lucky ones right now. Like I've had a built-in clientele of students for the past 8 years, so I just opened it up and took in more guys, and like right at the beginning of the shutdown, and lost a couple of them at the end of a month or two because they lost their jobs and stuff like that. But I'm teaching. I'm afraid to say this because everybody will hit me up, but I'm teaching a bunch of guys for free, right? Just because it keeps me busy, keeps me offline, where like off Facebook, like social media, right? Where I get in trouble, I'm eating way too much, right? I'm like huge. I'm like the biggest I've ever been, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Kate and I finally like said, okay, no more carbs like a week and a half ago, so like I'm trying not to eat like rice and beans and bread and all that, French fries and shit like that, Yeah.
That's hard to do in New Orleans, man.
Man, it's impossible, man. Especially just on your phone, you can have a fucking oyster po' boy in 2 minutes, It's terrible. Steve Howell, what's up, buddy? Pat Ramsey's old drummer in the house. But yeah, I've been busy. I'm doing good,
Hey, Ed.
So you guys writing songs, you doing something beyond, obviously eating, cooking is something that, that you brought into your world. But you guys doing like projects that sat around that you came back to?
I'm always working on some stuff, so I've always got pieces of songs that I'm working on, and I've been revisiting some tunes that I hadn't played in a long time. What about you, Jason?
Oh man, I got the writer's block during all this. There's like,
oh yeah,
I'm like feel like overloaded with information, right? I don't know what to do. I've been practicing like playing through changes and harmony and chord structure and stuff like that, like that stuff. Yeah, it's measurable, mathematical kind of things, right? It's easier for me to do that than sit down and try to like write like everybody got to get together, we got to feel good, we got to be one nation, one brother, it's the new normal, right? like all these COVID-19 songs, I'm just gonna be honest, it's like I don't want to hear anything about COVID-19 in a song, you know what I mean? I'm just over it. I'm over it, right? Anything about lockdowns, shutdowns, no thank you.
Well, hey, from your coming from your perspective, being locked down might be better than being locked up, huh?
Man, totally. How about you guys been having weird dreams? Right? Anybody?
Let's see. I just had a strange dream, but now that we're chatting lunchtime, which I like to refer to as my breakfast.
Right. Totally.
Shoot, I can't remember what it was. But Jason, like you, being at home so much and not, unfortunately, being a musician, you really are so much of your life and how you feel and stuff depends on meeting other people and being in other places and like that. For me it is, and so kind of being here at home a lot has dulled my creativity somewhat. Not having new experiences. It's kind of more of a steady routine day by day, and so not a lot of new things to think about or write about, really. So yeah, I agree. I've had some bit of writer's block, which is why I've been kind of revisiting some of the old tunes that I hadn't played in a while.
It's comforting to hear, because everybody else seems to be thriving like creatively, right? My wife is right. She's writing, learning a new instrument. She's doing great, discovering all this new music. Not me. No.
Yeah. I'm back to the old stuff. Same old thing.
Yeah, it's the experiences we have with people that elevate that creativity.
Hey, Steve Crowley. Nice to see you here online with us.
So we got a question for you from Steve Eden.
Let's see. What are some of the old songs? Well, one of my new favorites is the Dinah Washington big long sliding thing. now that I've married a trombone player. That's a great one. And I did an event down in Port Gibson and learned a song for that event, Romance in the Dark. And some of a lot of the old tunes, like say that Bessie Smith did or Dinah Washington did, these songs are somewhere in between jazz and blues. And I'm sure you can relate to that, Jason, being down there in the kind of the thick of all that.
It's incredibly inspiring living in the city.
Well, there's such a lot of overlap in all popular genres. I think there's a lot of overlap with blues and rock and jazz and blues, and so so that's what I've been up to.
That's what I love about your music is you're just Eden. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah.
Shoot. Well, that's what we all are, really, just ourselves. That's what I love about blues, is that it's all about being the true you.
That's what it's supposed to be about. Yeah.
Well, and I am going to step in on that. I think in order to be the true you, when you find the true you, you become unique and original. So I'm going to back up what Jason said. It's Eden. And there's a lot of music out there that, the blues is known as a format when ultimately it is still original music. So going outside the boundaries of, as Jason was saying, the COVID songs, how do you write something that may be about that, but doesn't directly refer to that? And that's something that both of you are really good at.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks, Tina. Thank you for that.
So,
one thing that I did do lately, Tina, that I was scheduled to do an event up in central New York, a benefit show for the YMCA of the Greater Tri-Valley there in central New York. And, this has been a terrible time for a lot of organizations because, now that everybody's lost jobs and stuff, then they can't keep up with their YMCA membership. So they're not getting in the revenue that they need just to do simple stuff like keep the lights on, because their revenue has dropped so significantly. And so I wrote a little ditty for them and emailed it to them just last night. So, I am using some creativity here and there. I did a little thing for the Mississippi Arts Commission. Somebody's.
So the question that Ken P's is saying, which he caught you, Eden, at the Juke Joint Fest. He's asking about the virtual experiences, and I'm going to answer first, and then you guys, speak what you think is the answer. I do, Ken, think that this is part of the future. I personally thought that live streaming would have been already in play larger before COVID. I think the industry thought that it would be. So I think this has brought the virtual experience to a place where it's going to exist. And I think as we deal with venues that are having to change their capacities, you're going to see potentially ticket prices go up, and you're also going to be able to buy that ticket through the virtual experience. And I don't think this is something that we're going to be dealing with just as we bring our venue capacities back to normal. I think this is going to be the future. I think if you want to see Eden Brent and Jason Ricci in New York or California, you're going to have that luxury. So I think that for me, that's one of the positive things that is coming out of this situation.
Yeah. It's a lot different though. I mean, Jason, if I don't know, like the juke joint that Tim is mentioning, that I gotta say that was I don't know how it came across because I'm me and I wasn't watching me. I was being me, but it was way different. It's way different when you have even just one or two people in a crowd. I mean, I played a lot of gigs that weren't full up gigs, sellouts,
right.
I enjoyed them just as well as the sellout shows. And there was a lot of people watching the juke joint, I think.
Right.
It certainly is different when you're just kind of looking at an iPad or a computer or phone than, being able to communicate with somebody and get a feedback. It's a lot different. I certainly hope that the streaming, as much as I like the format, I certainly hope that it wouldn't take over for the live experience. I mean, I hope we'll find a way to social distance in a live venue here before too long.
I'm with you. There's something about like a live audience that where and this sounds cliche, but it's really true. There's a cyclical experience that happens between an audience and a musician or a band, where there comes a point in a good show, right? And it doesn't happen every night, but most shows where there's really almost no difference between the people out there and the people on stage. It's this one shared experience that couldn't like take place if everybody hadn't lived life, right? And there's an energy exchange that's actually happening. Like, and I'm sure like you could prove this with physics somehow, right? but that's missing. And also in like what you're talking about, like the ability to read a crowd, like if a song is working or a groove is working, like that particular crowd might dig more of that. And you don't know that when you're live streaming,
Mm-hmm.
But I think like what Tina's talking about is like shows, like live shows happening with now live streams where people can pay or tip or both, to see the show. So like I can play it, like I can play in New Orleans and people in Denmark can tune in and pay to watch the show or pay to or tip to watch the replay of the show. And so it's kind of like the best of both worlds. I mean, and naturally I hope that continues, and then as far as like the live streaming thing goes for me, like right now, like I'm afraid to say that I'm almost a little burned out on it already. Like, the amount of people that are live streaming right now.
Right.
And I don't mean to sound bitter, but like, imagine if you're a chef, right? And suddenly you can't work, right? And your career as a chef, and you went to school and you trained and you apprenticed, and then all of a sudden everybody on the street has a barbecue and is charging money, right? You know what I mean?
I know.
A lot of
people who are plumbers or I know exactly what you're talking about. I can relate to that.
And it's like,
but
yeah.
And for everybody, I agree with that. But
and I'm going to pause for Michael's comment, and I think this is the key to answering more to Ken's question. I think that I'm not saying that live streaming should be live. It should be about the live experience. And I think Michael says a release party would be cool online. I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see artists doing private things for their fan base, and a release party pre the release tour is exactly where this live streaming should be.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great. Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of old school. So even though I enjoy the benefits of Facebook and video chatting with my sister and on the FaceTime, and Instagram is kind of fun. I mean, frankly, I'll log on to Facebook, and I hate to say this, but it's true. I'll log on to Facebook and I'll post something, and I'll kind of look for like 60 seconds, and then I'm out of here. Or with Instagram, good. Same thing. I know a lot of people who are just sort of glued to their telephone all day long, looking, and I just can't sort of relate to that whole thing. I can much better relate to paper books, a real book, not reading it online. I didn't, the first computer I had, I got in about 1998. The first cell phone I had, I got in 2003 or something. So I was a bit of a latecomer with all of this technology, and I still hadn't kind of gotten used to. I love the benefits, but it's not an integrated part of my life, actually.
No, I'm with you, Eden, and that's why we are doing this to bring me into a space that I've avoided for years.
Right. Well, yeah, I think I'm intimidated by it, probably.
Absolutely, I am. I don't have my brain doesn't think that way.
Yeah.
It's why why everybody has a specialty. And I've always left this world to the people who want and are passionate about computers.
I mean, as long as we have you here, Tina, though, like, the thing is, Eden and I can live stream. We do have a fan base. The musicians have been recognized in like big articles like the New York Times and stuff as people particularly affected by this. I think what a lot of people don't understand is that there is a whole behind the scenes crew that Eden alluded to with organizers, promoters, booking agents like yourself, roadies, sound crew, light crew, janitors that clean up the club after, all kinds of people that are out of work right now that don't really have a tippable trait, right? And I think, and if people are interested in having live music again, they should tip Tina Terry today. They should tip you today. You should put up your Venmo and PayPal right now, Tina, and allow people to send you a few bucks so you can, you can buy some bacon and make some bacon grease and then learn how to
make roux.
Hey guys, I'm gonna get more coffee. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
We'll be right
here. I forgot it starts with my favorite thing, bacon. Bacon.
I started mine with sausage, but then my brother-in-law mentioned that the animal fat probably burns quicker than maybe other kinds of fat that you might start with. But I turned the heat way on down and stir. That's kind of the trick. You have to babysit the roux, and it takes such a long time to change color that you really think, what in the world is going on? This is taking forever, but it just does. It takes forever. So I thought I was going to have gumbo on a Friday night, and I had it Saturday afternoon. That's really what happened. I mean, I cooked and it got to be midnight, and I said, I'm going to have to just kind of suspend this process and finish this gumbo tomorrow, which is what I did. And it was damn good.
So it's better if it sits a while. Everything's better. Right. All New Orleans food is better that way. Like even red beans and rice, if they sit a while, are better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I really like this comment here. This Jamie Parker character. Bro, thank you, man. Thanks for having some empathy and really getting it. He said thinking outside the box is easier than working there. Thank you, bro. Yeah. Thank you for understanding.
And that's one of the other things I've really appreciated about the downtime I wasn't expecting is it has opened things in my mind that I didn't even know were waiting to be brought to the forefront. And primarily I'm speaking, the future and the business of music, how to move forward in a world that we're all greatly experienced at, but could do differently. And primarily, the live streaming thing is so passionate for me in its future, because something we're not getting to is the younger generation, and that is where they're getting it. So if we don't bring this world into their domain, how do we make our fan bases stronger? And so that's where, thinking outside the box instead of working in it. I had someone say this to me: when you're in the grind of every day doing what you do, you've created habits that you're not even recognizing are holding you back. And so by being able to walk away from that daily grind and, the inbox and the calendars and the dates you're not filling, and it's been awesome to reopen the brain and rethink that process.
Yeah.
Can't
teach the old dog new tricks, Tina.
Well, and I'm so bad for that, Eden.
This old dog.
No, I am the worst. I can't even tell you how much.
Look. Hey, babe, pulling this here thing, this live thing, and there's 3 of us on a screen here. That's amazing. So, bravo to you. Cheers.
Well,
cheers to you.
I have a lot of people to say thank you to, and I will start with Jason Ricci for taking my phone calls every time I was stressing out. And
you did all the work. You did all the work.
And then Lou at Phoenix Radio. He's the one that, helped me get off the cliff of Zoom not returning my phone call. So yeah, I mean, you got to call your people when you don't really know what you're doing. Yeah. I like what Steve Harvey says here, branding your name. It's easy to, as you guys know, the talent is the part you had. Creating the person on stage, that took time. So, part of creating that style is branding who you are. And I would say
in blues, that's kind of easy. In blues, people are truly accepting of who you are if you're just your genuine self. You know what I mean? I think the people in the blues, they don't expect a lot of fancy. You don't have to. You can dress up if you want, but you don't have to. You don't have to fit a certain mold to be accepted into the blues realm. I think the people have been. In all roots music, I think the people, they just want the genuine article. They want to be able to see you as who you really are, and because everybody I think has a desire to self-express, and that's why, Jason, I think you're absolutely right. In all of this downtime, people have found themselves wanting to reach out to people, and that's why we see, our local lawyer live streaming his version of My Girl or whatever, because people are kind of lonesome.
Yeah.
They want to get a little feedback.
Yep. Totally.
So if you guys have any questions for Eden or Jason, definitely put them in the comments and we'll make sure they get answered.
Cootie Bugs there says she's been thinking outside the box for years. Hey, Cootie Bug. That's Kay there. Good to see you, baby.
So prior to all of this, Miss Eden, you and I have been discussing a new release. And so you think that will happen in 2021?
I was thinking maybe I'd try to do it later this year. And then my sister's putting out a record right now. And so I kind of got involved looking around, and it seems like, surprisingly, an awful lot of people are putting out stuff right now. There's a lot of releases. I don't know if so many people had planned to release records right now. It's an odd time to try to do a release, really, because it's hard to promote something when you're sitting at home. But it's also, it's a great thing to do. So, I'm not sure. I have about a half an album ready, I considered the idea of maybe releasing a song a month might be something fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to do. Hell, I might just make some more gumbo. maybe I'll release some gumbo too.
That's fabulous.
Hi, Bonnie.
So
hi, Bonnie. Bonnie said hi. I'm saying hi.
Are you like the last album you did? There was a couple of guitar songs on there. Are you going to continue or stay with the piano? You have any clue?
I hadn't been working so much on my guitar chops.
I saw it in the background though. Yesterday when we were test calling, I saw it sitting up against the chair. So it must be out a little bit. Yeah.
Well, funny enough, let's see. I have probably about, counting digital pianos. I probably have about 4 or 5 pianos, or I have some other keyboards too. But hell, I have 6 or 7 guitars. There's a guitar. There's not a piano in every room. There is a guitar in every room in my house. But my husband is such a good musician, and he had just recently, right before all this COVID stuff, he had really put this jamming soul band together. And hell, I might want to do let them play and do some singing,
nice.
or explore more kind of Fender Rhodes and whirly sounds. And
cool.
I did play whirly on my last record. Yeah, so maybe move my music from the 20s and 30s to the 70s.
That's what's popular right now. All those 70s and 80s bands that were supposed to tour this summer, there was a lot of them. Yeah. Let's see, what does Michael say here? Many releases are being postponed since nobody can tour, and many radio shows are on hiatus. Yeah, I had definitely a few artists who were due to release this year. They've all postponed it, kind of Eden's concept, to fall, potentially February. Right. I'd love to say that radio has an impact on promotions, but I don't necessarily feel that way per se in our world. All the independent stations that play blues, if we didn't have that, I'm not sure that you could say radio is a viable thing. But yes,
that's what I listen to here. I listen to public radio here.
Right. We got OZ down here,
Oh man, you are lucky. Lucky rascal.
Blessed.
Yeah, that's a damn good station. Yeah, whenever I'm in New Orleans, that's where I'm tuned in. We have a radio station here, the Delta Voices and Visions or something. Anyway, I think it's 90.1 here in Greenville, Mississippi. They play a lot of good stuff. And I listen to public radio. Yeah.
So Jason, talk about New Orleans and how it's changed your playing, because when I listen to your last album, I hear a ton of jazz overtones happening.
I think my time has just gotten more flexible since living here. Like the way I hit notes, like where I place them, just from being around all the funky musicians down here, because like funk is like a part of everything here, like whether it's jazz or rock or anything. And like like just the like I might play before I played here, I played like a shuffle. They'd be like right, and now I'm more like right? It's just like that has been like the predominant. And I didn't even like strive for it. It just happened like through osmosis from being around like hip tuba players and hip horn players and Joe Crown, you know, like playing with Joe Crown has been incredible. And like getting away from like the blues rock scenario where everything is, you know, regimented and kind of perfect and fancy and more of just little funky shit. Yeah.
Man, you sound good.
Yes, you do.
God bless y'all, man. Thank you. But yeah, that's been a big, you know, just I don't know. I think like Joe and I are doing a Maple Leaf live stream on Wednesday, the 27th at 3 p.m. Central Time. And that'll be weird. And like one of the weird things has been like, yeah, on one hand, I can't wait to get out and play again. On the other hand, I've been shut in so long that like I fear going out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to. Like I've gotten like lazy or something. You know, I don't know. It's crazy.
Are you scared? Are you afraid for your health?
No, I'm not actually. You know, like I maybe I should be, right? But I think I've already had it. I got two doctors that say you can't get it again, and one that says you can. So who knows? You know what I mean? I got a brother-in-law that's a doctor. I got a harmonica student that's a doctor. And I got an ex-harmonica student that's a doctor. And then I got the doctor at the musicians clinic. So that's 4 actually. And almost none of them agree on anything. So like, I have no idea.
That sounds like a band.
So Stephen Crowley has a question. And Jason, I'll let you answer first. And about the future of the blues. What's your thoughts on the next generation?
Get used to ramen noodles.
Uh,
I don't know. I think it's going to be great. Obviously, I think like the kids are good. I hope they go far back and do their homework, you know, before they get too wild, you know. But coming from me, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I spent years just doing Little Walter and listening to T-Bone Walker and Live at the Regal and all those that kind of albums, Professor Longhair and shit like that. So like, you know, don't forget the old guys. That's
right.
all. Yeah.
Well, the future of the blues is in good hands with folks like Kingfish. You know, when you listen to him, you have to remind yourself that what is he, all of 20 years old now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm digging like the current generation of like middle-aged guys that like Damon Fowler and JP.
Oh, he's going to be mad at you for calling him middle-aged.
He's my age. Fucking my age, man. Chill out, Damon. He's got a boy. He's got kids and stuff. You know?
That's true.
But anyway, yeah. But like, I think like the current crop, right, is pretty good, right? I'm like digging it, you know. And there's so many cool artists that are just kind of getting out. I feel really bad for anybody that had their first big year this year, like that had all their tours, like take for example, like Whitney Shea, like she was on a roll. She was on a roll, and she had all these gigs and their album release, and everything was planned for 2020, and boom, just sliced and diced, right? Whereas like Eden and I, at least, you know, we've been out a while and stuff, and have played Sedan, Kansas.
I love that place.
You were the best there. You stole the show that day. And that sequin dress, I know you said you don't dress up too much. That sequin dress was banging.
Oh, yeah.
I was jealous. I wish I would have worn that sequin dress.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the future generation, I think that the guys who are coming into the generation have studied it enough that that they're not necessarily focusing on the same patterns that we all did. And you're seeing them be embraced by jam festivals and things of that nature. So I think the fact that they're savvy with technology and marketing and all these things that, we did not grow up with at our disposal, I think that they will take the music into a totally different place. And I think when they say, can the blues ever be mainstream? Absolutely. I think they're the generation that has the potential to do that for us. So Steve Arby wants to know if you have any of those jazz stylings for purchase.
I'm trying to record 2 records right now that would include that. One is half recorded with JP Soares and the Gypsy Blues Review, which is like a gypsy jazz Django Reinhardt full band blues fusion kind of thing with Ann Harris on violin. And then I'm trying to get a label because I'm still old school that way. I'm interested in recording the Joe Crown trio with me involved, which would be New Orleans funk and 70s, jazz, funk, soul, acid jazz.
And you guys are talking about releasing a video soon with that project?
JP has a couple of videos in the can, and I'm hoping he releases them soon.
Nice.
And I hope he does them like Eden was talking about, like one every month. I think that'd be great.
And when you like, back to you, Eden, when you talk about releasing a song a month, I mean, are you doing these as singles? Like, where do you put them?
I did it yet.
Okay. So you're kind of like me, wing ding it.
I'm not sure. It was just an idea. I mean, it just occurred to me just now when we were talking. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're glad we did this.
I just thought maybe that's a way to kind of, if you can't be touring, I'm not sure when we'll be able to get back out there, really. I never did a lot of local gigs. I'm not sure when we'll be able to get back out there. And I don't know what's going to happen to these poor venues. Venues that will struggle anyway. And now is a sure tough time. So I just was thinking that would be a way to kind of generate some interest and sort of make up for the fact that you might not be able to be there in person. So yeah, release them as singles, and then maybe at the end you could give everybody an album or whatever. Everybody buy this song, and then if you buy all 12, you can get a record. Something like that, maybe.
That's a great idea. I mean, do you put them on like iTunes for purchase and for download? Would that be the concept?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. But I haven't done it yet. I need to go to the studio, and right now I'm scared to go anywhere. Here we don't have a lot of cases of COVID in Greenville, Mississippi, but we do have some, and so I'm just scared to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
I don't want to give it to anybody.
Right. And it's been really interesting, tracking the folks who are opening and what their capacity numbers are and how they're formatting their shows. And it's kind of interesting to hear that environment is, not wearing masks or gloves. And I don't know. That's what we all have to work through. It's a very personal thing at this moment.
Right. Hey, I got a question for Jason. Can I ask Jason a question?
Sure.
Hey,
absolutely.
Jason, I don't remember when it was, but I was hanging out here at the house. I used to have HBO before they took it off my Dish network. Anyway, so it was in the middle of the afternoon, or maybe, or middle of the morning or something. And I was watching HBO, and it was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And all of a sudden, this guy comes out on the stage, and he looked a lot like you, and he sounded a lot like you. And I was thinking, wow, that sure looks like Jason and sounds like Jason. I'll be damned, that is Jason. That even says your name. Anyway, my question is, if you don't mind, how did you get that damn cool gig?
Okay. So actually Tina got the call. All right. And when we were doing sound check, Paul Schaefer came up and introduced himself, and I asked him how I got the gig, and because I didn't know, and Tina didn't know. We just got a call, and he told me that Peter Wolf got me the gig. So I went and talked to Peter Wolf, who had no idea who I was or anything like that. So we still don't know how I got the job, and I have never gotten a job anywhere like it ever since.
But Eden,
amazing.
You know me well enough to know that if I don't know who you are, I'm going to ask how they know you. So when the guy said, "Hey, I'm calling to hire Jason," I said, "Well, how do you know Jason?" And he said to me, "I don't. I was just told he is the only person for the job."
Isn't that great?
Awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah,
right. He was the only person for the job, and he did a damn good one.
Oh,
yes,
thank
he
you,
did.
guys.
Yeah, he was
I got
perfect
to
for it.
hang with Miley Cyrus for the night.
Yeah, Kate kept me away from Miley, actually.
God.
and we actually, me and Willie Weeks, the bass player, got kicked out of Miley Cyrus's after party. We actually never got in. We never got in. Yeah, we got kicked. We got removed.
Yeah, well, that's even more impressive than being on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And that's crazy to think that they have their own after parties.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, some folks are saying that the broadcast has that the stream's been lost. I'm hopeful, if that's happening, that if you guys just refresh your screens, that it'll come back. I did just check Facebook, and it looks like all is good. So hopefully, David, you're still with us. So yeah, did you ever find the ballad you were asking about of Eden's?
No, I didn't, but I'm still looking, and I'm enjoying the looking process. Yeah.
All right.
Nice. So any other questions from you guys out there? We really appreciate you being here. It's great to see you guys, because I know I won't see you this year probably. And part of the reason I wanted to do this, so we could say hi and spend some time together. You know, when you're by yourself, I think people need the human contact. And if this is what we can do right now to have that, this is awesome. Thank you guys. So yeah, thank you for joining us. And I'm gonna let you guys, you know, I'm gonna steal something I saw that Jason will know the question. You know, what's your ending comment to your fans in this moment as we all wait to see you live again?
I've actually never been more grateful to my fans and my music lovers in general, like not just of me, but of my friends, you know, like without the support like that we've gotten from people. I mean, it's humbling. It really is. Like, it's amazing. Like the amount of people that really, really care, you know, and have shown that care, you know, through just texting and asking how we're doing, or shooting us a tip on PayPal, or signing up for a lesson that they probably don't even need, you know, just to support, and coming to these webinars and stuff, and tipping my friends that they don't even know about, like that. I've tried to get David Kimbrough, you know, or not David, Robert Kimbrough, you know, to get some audience of mine going that direction. And they did, you know, they went there and checked them out. And man, it means a lot to me, you know. It's like, so, I mean, I'm just grateful, very grateful to them all. And the companies that has been supporting me throughout this, like Lone Wolf Blues Company that makes pedals and microphones for harmonicas, Blue Moon Harmonicas out of Florida that makes harmonicas for me, and pays me, every month to work on stuff and sell stuff. And I don't know what I would have done without it. All my Patreon supporters, my YouTube subscribers, everything, Facebook friends. Mm-hmm.
That's great, man. Yeah, one of one of my clients that I've worked for many years, David Clark, there in Carrollton, Mississippi. I play his Christmas party every year, Tina, and he recently sent me a message that he wouldn't mind prepaying for the party, and I said, well,
right, that kind of stuff.
I would love to take you up on that, except then I might not have any Christmas money. So let's just
tip Tina Terry. Tip Tina Terry.
That's right, tip Tina Terry. Yeah, I would hate like hell to miss out on my damn Christmas money. We don't want to be spending my Christmas money in May.
Right.
But yeah, you are welcome to go ahead and tip Tina Terry today. Yeah, Tina, I hope you're hanging in there all right.
Yeah.
Everybody's been great to me, and frankly, now that I've got a husband, my mother always said two can live as cheaply as one, but only half as long. But she was wrong, because Bob knows how to make money and he knows how to save money. So we're actually doing okay financially. The house we live in Greenville, Mississippi, and it's just not really expensive here anyway. So we're kind of doing okay here. Just hang in there, everybody. If anybody wants to come to Greenville, Mississippi and distance socially with me, you are welcome. Just come on to Greenville. I'll be glad to distance socially with you across town over there at the Spectators Pub or the Blues Bar, or wherever we can distance socially. I love to distance socially. And
I love that I heard there was a restaurant that, the awkwardness of the open tables. And so they put mannequins at the tables and dressed them all differently. And it made headline news, but I thought that was really awesomely creative.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I like what Judy said. We'll sit at the end of your driveway, Eden, and you can play for us. So yeah, thanks for being here, and I will talk to you guys soon, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Tina. Right. What a pleasure to be here with Eden. You're like my favorite. Awesome. You're one of my favorites ever.
Love you, Jason.
Love you too. My wife's been really enjoying your music the last couple days.
Oh wow. Thanks.
Totally moved.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. And may you have an awesome day. Bye-bye.